Hey, everybody, welcome to the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast. George, we're back for weekend domestic action. We've got Liverpool versus City. We've got Manchester United against Spurs. We're also going to dip into the Bundesliga, Ligue 1, and La Liga, of course. So stick around, baby. Here we go.
Martial, Herrera, Ibrahimovic! Oh my God, an insane goal! I've just seen the most insane goal I have ever seen on a football pitch. Balotelli, Aguero!
Well, we are back. We did not have a midweek show, George, because there were some trash EFL Cup, Carabao Cup matches on. I'm glad we didn't get involved in those. They were pretty terrible. But it was nice to have a little bit of a week off because now the transfer deadline's done. We're moving on to the back half of the season. These teams know who's on the team. We know who's playing. We know what they're playing for. So I think we can really start to drill down in the rest of the season, George. But how are you doing? How was your week off?
It was good, Dev. Yeah, nice sometimes to get a break and digest data points and whatnot to strengthen our plays for going forward. We'll deal with Champs League again as we enter the knockouts and fine tune our process there. But yeah, nice to go week to week sometimes and not have to factor in what a team did in the midweek. Although, as you mentioned, we did have a few cups going on. Teams were involved, but not too much issue with the games we'll be covering here for the weekend.
Right on, Jordan. Well, yeah, I mentioned that the transfer window is done. Some of these guys are going to have to get settled into new places. And you know what? The Super Bowl's this weekend. So maybe don't blow the bankroll this weekend. That's just the thing I want to throw out, Jordan. I know it's a big week for you. You've got your Patriots are going to be playing in that Super Bowl. I'll be rooting against them out of spite, although I hate the Seahawks too. So can't win. Can't win unless I bet on it.
At least you're consistent, Dev. You hate every team in every sport, it seems.
I wish I could find the joy. I wish I could find the passion and the heart to really be invested. I like the home teams. I grew up around in Arizona. The Arizona Cardinals and Phoenix Suns, complete trash franchises, poverty franchises. But
and you hate them too, actually.
It's true. I hate them because I love them. It's some twisted thing. But this is a good time to tell you guys, if you are watching this live, we appreciate it. Please give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. Throw a like on this video if you're watching it on YouTube. If you are watching or listening in your podcast apps, we do appreciate that. And if you are live with us, jump in the chat and let us know what you think about some of these plays, what you think about some of these matchups, because I'm going to tell you something. We got a couple good ones, Jordan. Let's dive into this thing right now. And we're going to go to one of those teams that did play in the midweek. It's Manchester City traveling to Anfield with Liverpool. And this one are home favorites of 1/4 of a goal, but all the juice is on the City side of that number. And the total set at a flat 3. George, both teams to score, yes, -200. The team total for either of these teams to score twice is pretty good value. Plus money on Man City, +110 to score twice. Liverpool to score twice, -120. So some good value there. What do you think about this matchup, Jordan?
Yeah, Deb, there you could see it as good value, but I'd also say not so fast. I don't know that I'd look towards an overs angle in this one. I would be wary of those team totals, mainly because you look at these teams as they've met over recent seasons, not really lighting the world on fire in terms of goal scoring in these matchups, in the head-to-heads. And both of these teams right now, Dev, I have to say, are sort of like, I want to say they're both models of inconsistency. That's maybe a little bit harsh on Liverpool, as they have been unbeaten in a while. It's City that have had these weird slip-ups. But you can't really make heads or tails of them, because after they have a slip up, they come back and they look dominant. They just eviscerated Newcastle across 2 legs in that aforementioned EFL Cup. But, you know, we saw them lose 2-0 in a Manchester derby, and Michael Carrick's first game in charge. That was a surprise. So I think inconsistent is a fair word to describe Man City right now. Also not able to get the win Wait, who was that draw against? Man City. Oh, they were up 2-0 at the Spurs. Yeah, Spurs. We'll get to them. Yeah, inconsistent Dev. Liverpool, they do look better. They do look a lot better. Wirtz is starting to pay off now. He's got that much discussed partnership with Ekitike brewing now. The Bundesliga boys, yeah. They're looking good, but I still think you can get at them in the right game script. So, Dev, I tend to look to the head-to-heads when I feel like both teams coming into it are inconsistent and there's different conflicting narratives around the teams going into the match. I do tend to look to the head-to-heads, and this Anfield hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Man City in recent seasons. You actually have to go back to 2021 since Man City last won at Anfield. It's usually a Liverpool victory or a draw since then. So, yeah, I thought about a couple of different ways to play this, Dev. But you mentioned it right at the top that both teams to score yes, minus 200. I do think that gets home, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see no further scoring. I can see each of these teams getting on the score sheet, Dev. 1-1 is a real runner for me, plus 270 on the draw. Kind of appealing. Maybe one of these teams nicks it, though, and we get a 2-1. I would side with probably Liverpool if we're going to look at recent data. So I went with both teams to score yes, and I tacked on under 4.5 goals, just bringing that total up a little bit for me. And that's coming in at plus money, Dev, plus 110. I think that's great. You get the 1-1 onside, which I think is a real runner, as I say. You get the 2-1 victory either way. You get the 3-1 victory either way. And you get the 2-2 draw, which Man City just saw last weekend. So that's the play for me. Both teams to score yes and under 4.5.
Right on, Jordan. Yeah, it's a question that we ask often when we deal with Manchester City. What is Pep going to do? Does Erling Haaland start this way, or is it going to be Marmoush up there with the two strikers up top that they played in the EFL Cup matches, and they're playing this high line, looking like Barcelona out there? What is that gonna look like? I mean, is that gonna be something they do in this game, traveling to Anfield, or is that like an EFL Cup we're already kind of through? Let's just try something new here. The only stadium in the Premier League that Erling Haaland has not scored in is Anfield. So could this be the day? He's in a bit of a drought. I didn't look at his numbers to score. I probably should have before bringing him up, but I thought that was an interesting tidbit. The only stadium he has not scored in the Premier League. But Jordan, I'm going back to an oldie on this podcast. I don't feel great about it. This is why I said you guys should bet on the Super Bowl. Ignore these. I'm just going to go with the straight under 3, minus 108. I can see people in the chat already don't like this, so I'm going to have to respond to that in a minute. But it's just, we talk about these teams in the top 6. They're top 5 right now, these two. Excuse me, no, Liverpool is in 6th place, 1 point behind Chelsea. Man City still in 2nd, 6 points behind Arsenal. I think points are at a premium here. If City is going to do anything, I guess they have to get 3, but they cannot really lose the game or they're probably done. So because Arsenal is going to keep winning. So I do think this could be cagier than we think. Now, is City going to set up with that high line, play those two guys up top, Marmoush and new signing, name escapes me.
Cherokee?
No.
Semenyo,
thank you. Thanks for the backup. Yeah, they played those two guys up top in like a strike partnership, and I thought looked pretty dangerous against Newcastle. They throttled them. Yeah. I'm not sure they'll play Haaland like that. Like he's more of like a single striker. So interesting to see what they do. I think Guéhi will be starting. Mark Guéhi, the new center back for Manchester City. So maybe he can help organize that defense and they can be a little less leaky. Rodri looks slow, but Nico Gonzalez is kind of coming back to form. So how does City set up? That's the question for me. I think we know what we'll get from Liverpool. Is it going to be a little more cautious Pep, or is it going to be balls to the wall Pep? Because then it could totally go over this number. But I elected to go with that under 3. Jordan, push on the 2-1, which you thought might be the case here. But the chat's going nuts, Jordan. Do you want to jump in with some of these?
Yeah, it looks like for the most part they're talking amongst themselves. I don't think anyone was actually taking umbrage with anything you said, except for Kay Fryman in the chat saying A little bit harsh there, Dev. They were the best two teams in Europe over the last decade. Let's cut them some slack and hope for some goals. Assume he's talking about Liverpool and Man City. And then it turns into some sort of in-chat discussion. So, yeah, beautiful thing about the chat is you can chat amongst yourself or you can direct it to us.
One thing Bob DeVita threw in here is go back to the corners market. Over 9.5 corners, minus 125. 14 corners the last time they met. I will say it's a market I don't often look at, so that is one way to go with this one if you can't decide on that side or total. In terms of the side, I mean, you guys know I'm an underdog's better. I see that quarter of a goal for City, and I'm just like, how often do we see City getting a quarter? But it is at Anfield. Anyway, George, should be a fun one. That one kicking off on Sunday. We are going to move our attention now over to Saturday's early matchup, and it's Manchester United against Tottenham Hotspur. This one sees United as home favorites of a full goal here, -1, and the total is set at 3.25. George, either of these teams, well, actually, to get United's team total, you got to play over 2.5 at +150. Spurs
Wild.
to score twice, +175. They've looked a little better with Solanke in the lineup after his injury. Coming back, had a absolute incredible goal against City. You saw that, right? The sort of flying back heel thing he did. That was awesome. Both teams score yes in here, -188. So what do you think about this matchup, George, with Spurs traveling to United? It's a rematch of the Europa League final, too. I want to say that.
That's right. That's right. First thing I noticed, I feel like the total is a touch high for a sleepy kickoff. That's what we call it here on the show, the tea time kickoff, or the noon luncheon kickoff over in the UK. Oftentimes, this may be a bit of a gambler's fallacy, but oftentimes, not only are those matches sleepy for us over here on the West Coast of the United States, but they're also sleepy because the games can often be, for whatever reason, cagey and slow. And we do tend to see unders. So touch high there on the total, I think. And when you like an under, Dev, you like a dog. I was pretty shocked to see Spurs getting a full goal in this one, especially because they're not at home here. Spurs trash at home. Good on the road. They've only lost 3 games out of 12 on the road this season in the EPL. One of the best marks in the league. So they actually do their best work on the road. I tend to look at them more when they are on the road, and they're actually getting a full goal here. I think that's rich. I understand that Man U have hit the ground running under Carrick, but boy, is that a small sample size. Boy, is a new manager bounce a real thing. And let's look at the teams they've played. Man City and Arsenal to start things off. Well, look, those are teams that are going to have most of the ball. And Man U can set up in this way where they can sit back, absorb pressure, and hit on the counter. I don't think they're going to really be able to do that as much against Spurs, because I think Spurs are going to be the ones who sit back and absorb pressure. We know how Thomas Frank likes to set up, especially on the road, and maybe that's the reason they've done well on the road this season. Bit more onus to go forward when you're at home, and the fans are getting impatient and calling for Frank's head, right? That creeps into the squad, absolutely. So I think it's too much to be given Spurs here for all of those reasons, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Spurs +1. Maybe we do get another Dom Solanke scorpion kick or something like that. Probably not. But I agree with you that it is good to get any player back in the Spurs side right now, because they are absolutely decimated with injuries. It's really stark. So maybe Ange wasn't the problem, actually. Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's like people talking about the 49ers are too close to some kind of strange thing that causes injuries. Maybe that's going on. Someone investigate Tottenham Hotspur's training ground. See if there are any buildings or strange occurrences nearby.
Got the electrical substation in there, Jordan.
Right, that's what it is.
Ruining ligaments. Yeah, maybe the Spurs have it. They've got the new stadium too, built around the same time. Who knows? Jordan, did you talk about the head-to-head record here?
I did not.
Bit of a bogey
I left
team
it for you.
Tottenham for Manchester United. Okay, you have to go back to 2022. It was the last time that Manchester United beat Tottenham Hotspur. So that includes the EFL Cup games, that includes the Europa League final I mentioned, and a bunch of Premier League games. Tottenham have had their number. Now, they don't win all of those games, although they've won a few of them. They often get draws. This has draw written all over it. I love plus 350 for the draw here. I'm not brave enough to do that. I'm just going to go with the +1 for Spurs as well. I'm with you on this one, Jord, because you're getting so many outcomes on your side, and pushing out on the loss by 1 is just an absolute gift. I understand why it's lined like this. Someone in the chat said this. Fryman says, is this the best feeling Manchester United fans team have had since Sir Alex left? I don't know. They won a Europa League, right? Since then, at some point they won.
Yeah,
something.
with Jose.
So yeah, I would think they'd feel better for that, though Jose sucks the life out of your team. Anyway, getting off on a tangent. United, though, have been quite good at home. So looking since Christmas, Manchester United are number 1 in the Premier League in points accrued at home and expected goal differential. That's pretty impressive for all home games. So they're number 1 in both of those. Some of that's with Amorim, but a lot of it also with the new manager. Spurs, on the other side of this, since Christmas, top 4 in both points on the road and expected goal differential on the road. We've talked a lot about how Spurs are trash at home, better on the road, and it shows. They're top 4 in these statistical categories. But United number 1 at home. So is that why we're getting that full goal? It seems like probably. But then you look at the head-to-head record, and then you look at the sleepy early kickoff. I just feel like this is an absolute letdown. You talked about the play style. I think that's right in line, George. So we are in agreement in this one, going with the Spurs +1.
2 units, baby. Let's go.
Let's ride. We got one more EPL matchup for this weekend, George. It's Bournemouth against Aston Villa. This one lined as a pick, with all the juice on the away side, Aston Villa. The total is set at 2.75. Both teams to score yes, -188. And you can get some nice plus money on either money line that you go with. But what do you think about this matchup, George, down on the South Coast?
Well, Dev, it wouldn't be a Soccer Sharp show if I, Jordan, weren't looking for a way to fade this Aston Villa team. And Dev, I'm not going to be quite as bullish about it in this one because, look, fair play to Villa. They are somewhat catching up to those fraudulent metrics we've discussed on the show. Probably haven't brought it up for a few weeks now, but one thing that stands out for me with Villa is they're getting better defensively, right? Keeping more clean sheets, conceding the odd goal here and there, but they're not getting into these basketball matches that they were for a while. However, they haven't caught all the way up, Dev. They're still overperforming their metrics by quite some distance. And on the road, they are susceptible. I'd like to think they're susceptible to a team like Bournemouth, who are really fast starters, especially at home. They come out of the traps, and Bournemouth are scoring goals. So we're in kind of a rock and a hard place here because Villa, better defensively lately, Bournemouth scoring in bunches, regardless of the results they're getting. So I looked at that Bournemouth team total, got a little standoffish about it, though, because of Villa getting a little better defensively. I do like that, though. I think it's a little too overpriced, the over 1.5 goals for Bournemouth at +120 for a home team here. But they haven't done so well, Bournemouth, under Iraola against Unai Emery's Aston Villa, the clash of Spanish managers, right? Emery does seem to have Iraola's number. However, given recent form, given the way, this is kind of a game script play for me here. Both of these plays, I came up with 2 plays for the match that I was interested in. And that was Bournemouth to score the first goal. That's coming in at even money. And Bournemouth first half team total over 0.5. So Bournemouth to score in the first half, also at even money. Now, if you take the Bournemouth to score first and at halftime it's 0-0, you can still cash that bet deep into the second half if, Bournemouth score in the 90th minute and it's 1-0. But on the other side of this, if you take the Bournemouth first half team total, you're protected for the entire first half, even if Villa score the first goal in the first half. As long as Bournemouth gets something in the first half, you cash. So I elected to go with that because my narrative is based on Bournemouth coming out of the traps here, putting Villa under pressure and getting something from it. So I don't think that would carry over after halftime anyway. So that's what I'm going to ride. Bournemouth to score in the first half. First half team total over 0.5 at even money.
It's a bold shout, Jordan. I like it because the Villa midfield is super banged up. Yuri Tielemans out. Boubacar Kamara out. John McGinn out. Looks like they're going to have Onana in midfield. I think he's quite good for them. But how do you think Tammy Abraham is going to slot in at Aston Villa? He's one of their big new signings coming back from the Turkish league to Aston Villa. I hope he does well. But look, I elected to stay off of this game. Too much conflicting data between these teams. Villa is probably the side, right? They have not lost in 6 straight against Bournemouth. And we've seen over 2.5 goals in 6 of the last 8 Bournemouth matches, but under 2.5 in 4 of the last 5 Villa matches. So I couldn't split it, Jordan. I'm staying off it. I wish you luck with that first half goal.
Appreciate it, bro.
Hell yeah. Well, let's move on, Jordan. We're going to dip over to a place we don't go second often. It's Liga. Ligue 1 McDonald's is the proper pronunciation. And this is Le Classique, as it's called. It's Paris Saint-Germain hosting Marseille. This one sees PSG as home favorites of a full goal and a quarter, minus 1.25 on that Asian handicap. And the total is set at 3.25. Jordan, last time these two teams met, it was a 2-2 in the, I want to say, Trophée des Champions, some weird French
Indeed.
cup.
Right.
Paris came late on in that one, I think, to score in stoppage time to send it to penalties. They won on penalties. Heartbreaker for Marseille. The last time out in the league at Marseille, they took care of business, winning a 1-0 against PSG. And now these two facing off for the second time in the league. A big one for PSG, who I believe are still down behind Lens by 1 point in Ligue 1. I'm going to double check that. But what do you think about this matchup here, Jordan?
Yeah, no, they are at the top of Ligue 1 at the time of recording here, Dev. They have 48 points, Lens behind them with 46, and a distant third, Marseille, with 39 points. Yeah, Dev, maybe a little bit of revenge factor here for PSG, losing the reverse fixture, as you mentioned, at the Orange Velodrome, 1-0, courtesy of a Marquinhos own goal. So maybe a little bit of revenge here, and in a match where their ultras and supporters will absolutely expect them to come away with the 3 points. More so, I think, than Trophée des Champions, which was probably played in Saudi Arabia or something. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was one of those. Listen, Dev, I like PSG here. I've been watching Marseille last few weeks in various competitions, and I don't like what I'm seeing in terms of mentality coming from the manager as well as the players. Weak mentality. When things don't go their way, they wilt. They have to be front runners. When things are going well, when they're clicking and they're scoring goals, everything's great. But if they go behind, they show weakness and they don't have the mentality to come back. De Zerbi starts yelling, gesticulating. He's losing control. He's having clashes with the board. Not a great time for Marseille. Obviously, if they were to win this, they would narrow the gap, but I don't know. I think that's gone. I think now their focus is just trying to get into the Champions League again. So, yeah, I like PSG in this one, Dev. Obviously, in recent history, and actually throughout history, they have, not throughout history, throughout modern history, I should say. I guess recent was fine. They have dominated Le Classique. So I think that continues here. I think they weren't as healthy earlier in the reverse fixture. They were missing some guys. Dembele didn't start that one. Doué was out injured still. So, yeah, I think things come back to sort of some semblance of normalcy here. We see PSG winning Le Classique at home. What were you worried about? No problem. But I don't expect it to be like an insane fireworks match. I know these teams have the best offenses in the league, do score a lot of goals. However, you have to go back to 2017 for the last time Le Classique exceeded 4 goals in a match. And PSG, they've seen, spoiler alert, I'm taking PSG to win, and I'm tacking on under 4.5 goals. This is why I bring up the 4.5 goal mark. PSG, while we do think of them as like having basketball matches a lot, actually, most of their matches, I got the quote here, 84.6% of their Liga matches have gone under 4.5 goals. So I think that's a fairly safe tack on here, because what do PSG and Luis Enrique ultimately want? They want control. They want control of the match, regardless of who they're playing. So they're going to look to kill the game off, probably win this 1 or 2-0, but I'm not dismissing Marseille entirely. As I say, as long as things start well for them, they can be a problem. So prediction for me is probably, honestly, 2-1, 3-1 PSG.
I hear you, Jord. Well, I hope it's not that, because I'm going to play the underdog here, Jordan. I'm going with Marseille plus 1.25 goals.
Whoa.
You mentioned that PSG was banged up in their last head-to-head here in that Coupe de France match. They were missing Ashraf Hakimi, who will be suspended again for this matchup on red card accumulation. That's a big loss for them. They were figuring out how to play without him over the last couple of months with his injury and his departure to AFCON, but I do think he's just so important to what they do. Warren Zaire-Emery, I just don't think is the same level. I don't think I'm saying anything crazy with that. Dembele is back. That's frightening. But you're missing Kvaratskhelia as well. He's out with injury. So what is that front line going to look like? Is Doué, Dembele, Barcola? Suddenly it's not quite as fearsome as the full-strength PSG. And look, this is all Marseille have now. This is their Super Bowl, right? This is the last game they have. They need to try to make Champions League for next season. They're in that position currently, so they don't want to lose this. They're eliminated from Champions League. I hear you on the board, the optics around the team. I hear you on all that. But can there be a galvanizing effect now? They bring in Ethan Nwaneri from Arsenal, really interesting young attacking player from Arsenal. I think he's only 18. He's coming in to play number 10 for this Marseille team. Can he hit the ground running? And maybe they get a little boost here and they say, look, this is what the squad is now. This is what we have. Let's go to the end of the season and try to finish as high as we can, at least make Champions League for next year. And it starts right here against their arch rivals and the best team in the league. So then you add on, you're giving me they can lose and I'm still cashing half my bet. All right, if they lose by 1. So I just think it's a little too much to give. Has De Zerbi figured something out against PSG? Their past 2 matchups, they haven't lost. So maybe that continues here. So I am going to go with Marseille plus 1.25 goals. Although, Jordan, I'll tell you, I don't love it. Save your money for the Super Bowl, and that's where you guys should put your bets. But there you have it. We're a bit oppo on this one, Jordan.
Yeah, I guess we're rooting for 2-1 PSG for the podcast. Half cash for you, full cash for me.
Sure, yeah, and we'll take anything that has cash next to it. We could use at this point. Well, Jordan, let's take a detour from France over to Germany with the Bundesliga.
Oh.
We're taking a look here at St. Pauli hosting Stuttgart. This one sees St. Pauli as 0.75 goal underdogs at home, plus 0.75. The total set at 2.5, low for the Bundesliga. But what do you think about this matchup, Jordan?
Dev, I don't think much about it. My dog ate my homework, man. This is not a game I've looked at. I got nothing for you. I'll pass it to you.
I will take it, Jordan, because I'll tell you right now that Stuttgart have really turned things around since the winter break. They are number one in the Bundesliga in expected goal differential since that break around New Year's, since the turn of the calendar for Germany, and they are number 2 in points accrued during that same span. They've also rattled off, I want to say it's 6 wins in a row. Double checking. 4 wins in a row, excuse me.
Helps when Bayern are dropping points left and right when I'm on them.
That's right. Well, they've hit a thin patch, haven't they, Bayern? But Stuttgart still, quality side, know how to get wins. They've been playing together for a while. Dennis Undav, Furich, Angelo Stiller, these players, they've been on this team for a long time, and I think they really have a nice understanding with each other. St. Pauli, they've done pretty well. Their second season up here, but they haven't won a game in 8 straight matches, have not kept a clean sheet in 3. So Stuttgart should get the 3 points here, Jord, even though St. Pauli, tough place to go. They are battling relegation, so there's a lot on the line. But I'm going to go with Stuttgart on the money line here. I'm going to keep it simple. It's minus 125. It's a little juicy, but I'm not going to lay the 0.75, which you could do if you want that plus money. You can see it on the screen there, plus 103 for minus 0.75. But just give me Stuttgart to win the game here, Jord. I think this team's hot, and I want to back them while I can, even though they are on the road for this one.
Curious, Dev, just from one better to another, had you considered that Stuttgart team total 5 cents better? And do you think the 1-0 is a real runner here?
I mean, potentially, just because the way St. Pauli set up is like one of the teams that tries to defend. Right. Now, Stuttgart, I mean, getting that team total is not a bad shout. I mean, that's probably a safer way to play it, because it's probably more likely the match is 2-2 than it is 1-0, I would guess, just because it's Bundesliga. But you can see that low total. It's a low Bundesliga total, 2.5. So if it does end up like a 1-0, I'm be happy I had the money line.
For sure.
All right, George, let's move on. We've got more Bundesliga to cover here. This one is Borussia Monchengladbach hosting Bayer Leverkusen. This one sees Gladbach as home dogs once again, 3/4 of a goal plus 0.75. Jord, the total is set at a flat 3. Both teams to score, yes, minus 175. They think Gladbach can get on the score sheet here, even though they are, home dogs. But what do you think about this matchup, Jord? Anything?
Not a little more than the last match, I guess. This is the marquee slot for the Bundesliga weekend, right? We talk about it all the time. The late kickoff on Saturday tends to favor the home team. However, Gladbach, as they're wont to do, not putting together wins frequently, right? They come into this on a 4-game streak of no wins, whereas Leverkusen come into this on a 4-game streak of wins. So, maybe a rock and a hard place there. Probably not. We really know that ultimately Gladbach at home only get up for Bayern. That's where you take Gladbach to cover, not Bayern. So what are you seeing in this one, Dev?
I'm just going to go with the total here, Jord. We've seen over 2.5 in 7 of the last 9 meetings between these two. And this Leverkusen team is hot. 4 wins in a row. They're doing it scoring goals. 3-0 against St. Pauli in the midweek Pokal match. So they did have that. Maybe that slows them down because they're played midweek, although they're used to that from their Champions League run. Had a really nice day there. They're 3-0 against Leverkusen. But can they score 3 again? I hope so, because that will cash what I took. Sure, it looks like it's a little bit different on the card here. It's set at a flat 3, plus 105 for the over. I found it at over 2.75 at minus 125, and I was happy to take it there, George. So if it does get 2-3, I will at least half cash, half push there. So slightly different than what's on the screen, but it's over 2.75 on the Asian total, George, minus 125.
Fair enough, Deb. I support it.
Cash with Leverkusen total last week, so let's run it back, baby.
Run it back.
Let's move from the Rhineland over to La Liga in España. We're taking a look at Real Sociedad against Elche, which loosely translated means the Che. Jord, Sociedad in this one, 3/4 of a goal favorites at home, minus 0.75, and the total is set at 2.5. Jord, there is value all over this card that I'm looking at. You can play the total either direction. You can see it going. Both teams to score, yes, minus 125, no, minus 106. Sociedad on the money line here, minus 150. What do you think about this matchup, Jord? Because I elected to stay away, so I'm going to let you run with this one.
Well, Dev, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Sociedad really have turned things around since, I don't know, a couple months back when they were sort of struggling for form. Now they're looking imperious again. They come into this and 9 matches straight unbeaten Most recently, they played in El Derby Vasco, the Basque Derby at Athletic Bilbao, where they were absolutely the better team. That ended 1-1 with Sociedad getting a late red card after missing 4 big scoring chances. Dev, I had the over 2.5 in that match. It ended 1-1, as I say. That was irritating.
Never in doubt. Never in doubt.
Can we stick one of those away, fellas? 4 big chances missed? Irritating. But look, they're creating, and that's what you want to see when you're backing a team as a gambling man. They come into this against an Elche side who are winless in 6. Pretty good streak there, but in the wrong direction. So I think they get back to winning ways here. They just had a tough derby match, as I say, on the road. They'll come home here and look to pick up the 3 points, and I think they will, Dev. Not many teams better to play right now when you're looking for a win than Elche, as I say, coming into this on a losing streak, a winless streak. One thing, though, that we are seeing from Elche games, Dev, are goals. Over 2.5 goals in 6 of their last 7 matches, with both teams scoring in 6 straight for Elche. The only team that might have better streaks than that, Dev, Real Sociedad. Over 2.5 goals, 5 of their last 6, with both teams scoring in 10 out of 10. 10 straight matches. So am I going both teams to score in over 2.5? I probably should, but I'm taking a bigger swing here, Dev. I'm taking Real Sociedad to win the match, coming in at -150, and I'm tacking on over 2.5 goals in the match. I'm putting them together. Over 2.5, already playable on its own, -118. Wouldn't put anyone off that. I just gave the data. But I think Sociedad get the 3 points here. I'm greedy. I'm putting them together for my big swing of the card here, Dev. It's coming in at a whopping +140. I think it can get there. The only thing that might put someone off of this is the head-to-head record between the teams, where we actually see under 2.5 goals in 5 of the last 6. So
yeah, it doesn't look great.
Doesn't look great. Depends how you want to spin it, right? Or are we looking at current form? Are we looking at head-to-head?
Yeah, they're due.
It just depends.
Statistically, it's more likely that it goes over now. Yeah,
we say it all the time. That's the thing about stats. You just spin them to support your narrative, right? So, yeah, Def, that's where I'm going. That's my big swing of the card. +140 for Sociedad to win the match with over 2.5 goals in the process.
Right on, Jord. Well, that's going to do it for us. That's all the matches we're covering. But before we get out of here, Jord, there's something we got to do.
We do indeed, Def, because it's one thing to talk about these matches, and it's quite another to put our money where our mouths are and pay the bookie.
Chuck, I'm going to tell you something. You have that fucking 200 in my hands tomorrow. If you ain't got the 200 in my fucking hands tomorrow, I'll break every fucking bone in your body.
Alrighty, Jord, well, let's go ahead and throw the official plays up on the screen. I'll read them out for the podcast listeners. Jord, Liverpool, Manchester City on Sunday. I'm just going with the under 3 on the Asian total, -108. Saturday morning, it's Tottenham Hotspur traveling to Old Trafford, and I'm going with Spurs here as the road dog, plus a full goal, +1 on the Asian handicap, -111. Marseille in Le Classique, plus a goal and a quarter on the Asian handicap, -103. In the Bundesliga, Stuttgart just on the money line, don't complicate it, -125. And Monchengladbach, Leverkusen over 2.75 at -125. What do you got, Jordan?
Yeah, Dev, on Liverpool, Man City, I've gone with both teams to score and under 4.5 goals at +110. Let's hope that's a double cash for us because we are
1-1.
simpatico. Yes.
We need the 1-1 there. Only
Absolutely.
scoreline.
Yeah. And that's where I really think it could end up.
It's a runner, Jord. It's a runner.
It's a mad runner. We're completely simpatico in the next selection. Spurs +1 on the Asian handicap. That's a 2-unit play for the podcast. I'm also taking Bournemouth first half team total over 0.5. Bournemouth to get a goal in the first half at even money. In PSG, taking on Marseille, I'm taking PSG to win the match with under 4.5 goals at -110. And finally, the last match we talked about, Real Sociedad, money line and over 2.5 goals at +140. Dev, I tell you, I missed something in the chat earlier. This is the kind of dedication the Soccer Sharps audience brings to the table. Fryman in the chat saying, I'm currently riding my bike and it's fucking 17 degrees outside in Richmond. But hello, how is everyone doing? That's what we like to see here. That's dedication. On a bike, 17 degrees. It's like definitely like almost 11 o'clock there in Richmond. Shout out to Avail, Richmond hardcore. If you know, you know.
Wow, Jordan, that's a crazy number. 17. I was hot today. I had to put sunscreen on. I'm wearing shorts at the park. That's crazy to me.
Well, sunscreen does not discriminate. You can actually get sunburned in cold weather as well.
Wow. Okay, that is true. I used to get some gnarly ski mask sunburns in my skiing days. Well, Jordan, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much to those of you who were watching along live. Those of you in the chat, it was going nuts. I'm sorry we didn't get to more of those comments. Looks like people were arguing with each other. I love to see it. Thank you guys so much. If you wouldn't mind giving us a like or follow or subscribe, sharing with some friends who are degenerate gamblers. The Super Bowl is on Sunday. Once that thing's over, we're plowing straight ahead to the World Cup, and it's going to be non-stop saga. So be sure to get us in the ears of your friends as well so you guys can fade us properly. Would probably be the best strategy you could employ right now. And use your winnings to buy Bitcoin on the dip as that crashes and destroys another of my financial angles. But Jordan, any last words for the people?
Yeah, it hasn't been a great year. We've only just started as we enter
Crazy.
February.
It's February 5th. It feels like it's the 13th month already.
Well, whether it's Bitcoin or cold hard cash, manage those bankrolls, people. As Des says, we've got the Super Bowl this weekend. We've got a World Cup year. We've got plenty of saga going all the way through it. So manage those bankrolls, bet responsibly. Don't ruin your lives over this shit. It's absolutely not worth it. Thanks for listening. Let's make some money.
Let's make some money.
Martial.